Can coastal polar infrastructure survive sea level rise? Imagine a world where icy lands that have stood for thousands of years are slowly changing shape. Coastal infrastructure in polar regions faces serious threats from sea level rise and other environmental shifts. As the ice melts, water levels in the oceans are rising, and this causes big problems for buildings, roads, and facilities near the coast. Most of the sea level rise in polar areas comes from melting ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica. If the Greenland ice sheet were to melt completely, it could raise global sea levels by over 20 feet. Even a smaller amount of melting this century could cause sea levels to go up by several inches to more than a foot. The Antarctic ice sheet adds to this, especially if parts of it become unstable and start melting faster. This makes predicting future sea level rise tricky but important. Along with rising seas, the coastlines are eroding quickly. Arctic coastlines are shrinking at about 3 meters each year, and in some places, erosion happens as fast as 20 meters annually. This erosion eats away at land where towns, roads, and research stations are built. Many of these structures are on permafrost, which is ground that stays frozen year-round. As temperatures rise, the permafrost thaws, making the ground unstable and risking the foundations of buildings and roads. This combination of rising sea levels and land erosion already causes damage to communities, mining sites, military bases, and scientific stations. These places are vital for local populations and global interests. As the environment changes, the risk of flooding and storm surges increases, making infrastructure more vulnerable. Saltwater from the ocean can also seep into freshwater supplies and soils, harming ecosystems and water systems. Thawing permafrost leads to ground sinking, which can cause structures to crack or collapse. Land loss from erosion can leave communities isolated or cut off from supplies. To deal with these challenges, people are trying different solutions. Building seawalls might help temporarily, but they can cause erosion elsewhere and harm fragile ecosystems. Soft options like relocating buildings or redesigning infrastructure to withstand flooding and ground instability are becoming more common. These efforts requiring careful planning, investment, and sometimes moving entire communities or facilities away from dangerous zones. The future of coastal polar infrastructure depends on how much sea levels rise and how well we prepare. Without action, many structures could be damaged or lost by the end of this century. Early monitoring, better prediction models, and designing resilient infrastructure are key steps to reduce risks. Protecting these areas is important because they play a big role in global climate regulation and ecosystems. In the end, surviving the impacts of sea level rise in polar regions is possible, but it needs smart planning, investment, and sometimes tough choices like relocation. The environment is changing fast, and how we respond now will determine whether these coastal structures can stand strong in the years ahead.